Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Peterzak, and I am the founder and CEO of JP Consulting. I want to thank you for the opportunity to provide guidance and support to you as you begin your leadership journey in India. Over the course of the past 4 weeks, I've gathered key information about the culture and history that will provide insight and context to you as you think about your leadership approach and principles. Throughout this presentation, I'll focus on 4 key leadership principles and how they can be applied, supporting ultimate success to you and your team. These principles include individual leadership, emotional intelligence, honesty, truthfulness within the Indian culture, and lastly, insight into India's cultural diversity. Let's get started with a brief look at India today. Currently, the population is about 1.3 billion. India is located in the center of South Asia. It's the 7th largest country in the world by area, but the most populous democracy in the world. Now let's take a brief look into the history of India. It is believed that the civilization that makes up the country of India may have begun as early as 4000 to 5000 BCE and was founded on the religion of Hinduism. The Republic of India, as we know it today, was founded in 1947 after a peaceful freedom movement led by Gandhi. In 1947, a socialist economy was formed. As I'm sure you know, India's economy is growing at a considerable rate. In fact, in 2014, it became the world's largest growing economy in the world's G20 developing nations, replacing China. As a reminder, the G20 nations account for 60% of the world's population, 70% of the farmers, and 20% of the world's agricultural exports. Let's now take a look at what business in India looks like today. We will then discuss how this impacts your leadership journey. Indian business today has a strong focus on their employees as well as a concentrated focus on the organization's contribution to society. It is understood that when the business succeeds, the social mission is served. The Harvard Business Review conducted research to discover how Indian leaders drive their organization to high performance. Contrary to Western CEOs, Indian leaders pointed to their people as the primary driver to success, as opposed to financial markets, mergers and acquisitions, or deal-making talents as the drivers. Plainly stated, Indian leaders believe in investing and believe in their people. As a center for outsourcing and offshoring activities for organizations around the world, the development of their teams and the labor market is critical. India also offers lower labor rates for skilled workers with a prevalent use of the English language. And then lastly, it's important to mention that only 9% of the workforce is employed in the organized business sector. This is critical for you to know, as I suspect you'll be responsible for hiring talent, but also understanding the differences that may be found within the Indian culture and workplace. Let's now look more closely at 8 areas and view the comparison between the United States and India. While there are many more than 8, these are a few that I thought would be critical for you to have a better understanding of as you transition to India. The first 4 outlined on this slide are formality and respect, relationships, hierarchy, and saying no. Let's focus first on formality and respect. It is important for you to know the people of India have a high level of formality. Indians will address people as sir or madam. You will find your colleagues could be a little bit guarded, and your initial conversation should be around topics that are non-contentious and non-personal. This is because you frankly need to build your relationship with them first. Relationships in India are the primary focus. So being mindful the typical Indian is guarded, building these relationships will take patience and persistence. Also, please do not take their primary focus on relationships as a lack of business acumen. This is certainly not true. But hierarchy is extremely important within the Indian business. It will be important for you to address the most senior person in the room first upon entering a meeting. And last on this slide is the ability to say no. So Indian business people may have a difficult time saying no. In their culture, it can be seen as a sign of disrespect. Therefore, it's important for you to choose or to pay close attention to the conversation, searching for signs they may not agree, such as body language or comments like, "I will try," or "That's a possibility." Should that occur, you're encouraged to help your employee by reframing the conversation to help that Indian employee decline the request in a comfortable manner, perhaps by pointing out issues or helping explore alternative solutions. It'll be important for you to have a better understanding of how time is viewed in India. They are not known for punctuality and may often arrive late to work. Let's talk about personal space and comfort zone. A safe bet is always a handshake, noting it may not be as firm as you are used to. Other forms of informal greetings like a hug or an arm around the shoulder are not common and frankly should be avoided. Additionally, you may simply want to smile when greeting a coworker of the opposite sex. Business cards are used as a way of introduction in India. They're provided in casual settings. It's the opportunity for the individual to provide all of their information to you. And lastly, saying please and thank you. They are not common phrases in India as much as they are in the United States. And while your employees and coworkers may be thankful, you may simply receive a smile or head nod in acknowledgement of the actions. Now that we've dug a little deeper into some of the differences, let's focus on how you apply to your leadership journey. As mentioned, Indian culture and business has a strong emphasis on relationships. So it's critical for you as a leader to begin building those relationships as soon as possible. I'd encourage you to focus on the interactions you have with each person, then focus on your relationship and leadership of the team. This will help create an environment supporting a partnership. With that said, it's important to continue to be mindful of the Indians' view on hierarchy. While it may be commonplace with the United States to view all relationships as a partnership and the reporting structure may simply be a formality, that will not be the case within India. Remember, it will be highly unlikely for a team member to disagree with a senior colleague. And as you're building relationships, know it may not be common for you to receive, or it may not be uncommon for you to receive an invitation to a coworker's home for a business discussion. Indians are very hospitable. In this scenario, I'd encourage you to bring a small gift as a thank you. Now let's focus on emotional intelligence, or EI. EI is comprised of 4 elements that focus on self and others and the behaviors and awareness for each. EI helps you to understand yourself, understand others, and manage relationships. Emotional intelligence is developed from competencies, which are learned capabilities that contribute to effective performance at work. Understanding these 4 elements within EI and how they apply to the Indian culture will be critical to your success. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and understand your emotions and their effects, both personally and professionally. It's also the ability to recognize how you react to cues in the environment. When you struggle with self-awareness, you may become easily irritated with others and/or treat people abrasive. Both of these reactions could have significant negative impact on your relationship with your new team. As we've discussed, there are many differences within the Indian culture and that of the United States, so recognizing, acknowledging, and adjusting to these differences will be critical to your success. Self-management and self-control is the ability to keep impulsive feelings and emotions under control. When you demonstrate self-control, you are able to deal calmly with stressful situations, display restraint, and control impulses. It will be important to not react impulsively or respond in a negative way. As the team's new leader, you'll be expected to lead the team with dignity and respect that's been granted to you simply by position. It's important to not break their trust in you. Social awareness. This is a critical area for you to focus on given the significant differences we've discussed and outlined. This is the ability to relate to and understand others. When you demonstrate empathy, you are able to read people's nonverbal cues. So let's think back to that Indian's inability to say no. Read their body language, apply your EI as it relates to empathy and social awareness, and help your employee. Lastly, relationship management and influence. This is the ability to connect with the others and build relationships. You can demonstrate relationship management and influence when you persuade others by getting support from key people and leaders. This will appeal to their hierarchy view within the Indian culture and business. As you can see, EI will be critical to your success. Additionally, and in support of EI, is the need to be truthful and honest. Demonstrating self-management and consistently being honest while acting with integrity will build true trust within your team, trust being the foundation of truthfulness. This approach aligns with many Indian leaders today. Successful leaders build employee commitment by encouraging openness. So let's revisit the Indians' inability to say no. As a reminder, this is a cultural norm and not an act of dishonesty or wanting to be untruthful. And lastly, I feel it's important to address that India has struggled with corruption and may still be an issue today. Demands may come in the form of small kickbacks or large corporate donations. Being mindful of your organization's core values and applying those will help you avoid these types of situations. Let's now move on to tolerance and cultural diversity. This slide is informational in nature for the purpose of awareness. Being mindful of your emotional intelligence and leadership styles will equip you with the capabilities to navigate through the cultural differences. Additionally, developing your cultural intelligence, or CQ, will be key to your success. CQ is the ability to use reasoning and observation skills to interpret unfamiliar gestures and situations to devise appropriate behavioral responses. This is critical given there are 5 primary religions practiced in India: Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Sikhism. India has the 4th largest number of spoken languages per country in the world, and while English is spoken, you still may hear some unusual expressions, all adding to a very diverse work culture. And as with many other countries, the generational changes will continue to add to the diversity, as the younger generation is more accepting and open to Western cultural influences. And lastly, let's discuss work-life balance. As mentioned earlier in the presentation, time is viewed differently within the Indian community and culture compared to that of the United States. And it does impact when employees come into work and may leave. It's been stated that time for the Indian population is auspicious. It is not uncommon for an employee's calendar to be marked with weddings, christenings, new ventures, or birth. These life events are extremely important to the Indian population, with the expectation their employer should be accommodating to them. It is my hope I have provided you with the foundational information you will need to be successful as you navigate your leadership journey in India. In support of your endeavor, I'd like to point out 2 resources or tools that may be helpful to understand who you are as a leader and how you may react to certain situations. The first is DISC. The DISC profile helps you increase your self-knowledge, how you typically respond to conflict, what motivates you. It manages more effectively by understanding the dispositions and priorities of employees and team members, and it helps you become more self-knowledgeable, well-rounded, and an effective leader. And then there's the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, the MBTI. It's an introspective self-report questionnaire with the purpose of indicating differing psychological preferences and how people perceive the world around them and make decisions. So again, just 2 resources available to you online that I thought may be beneficial as you navigate your journey to India. So again, I want to thank you for the time and the opportunity to provide you with the information, and my contact information is here in the presentation, so please feel free to reach out with any additional questions that you may have. Again, thank you for your time.